guys, welcome back to another review, and today I am reviewing Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard, or Die Hard 4.0, starring Bruce Willis, Justin Long, Timothy Olyphant, and Maggie Q, and is directed by Len Wiseman, the same guy that did Underworld and the Total Recall remake. Haven't seen neither, so I can't give my opinion. And this film is about John McClane teams up with a teenage hacker to take down a cyber terrorist in Washington, D.C. So let's talk about the positives. First off, I should let you know there is an unrated version, but I'm not reviewing that one. I am reviewing the PG-13 cut, because that was the only version I could see. Alright, positives. Bruce Willis is good in this movie. He still acts like John McClane, unlike what happened in Die Hard 5. That's for another day. But, he's really good in this movie. Justin Long is also really good in this movie as well. Him and Bruce Willis have good chemistry. They work well together. The villain, the actor is pretty good as the villain, and all the performances are very strong. And let's talk about the action. Well, obviously, it's not as gritty as the other Die Hard films. For the others are rated R. This one is PG-13. But for PG-13 action sequences, they are very strong. There's no shaky cam. There's nothing bad in it. It's not the worst. There's a great highway chase where he launches a car into a helicopter. It has a lot of great over-the-top action like that. There's a fight in like a lab. I think it was a lab. That was really well done. Some of the action gets surprisingly intense for a PG-13. There's a great highway chase towards the end with a jet. Stuff like that. It's over the top, but it is really over the top. But if you think about it, the other Die Hard movies were definitely more grounded, but they were also not like what do you call it? This one, it's definitely feels more like John McClane turned into like a Rambo type person where he could survive things that he couldn't. I mean, he did that in Die Hard 3. But yeah, this one definitely gets a little more cartoonish. All right. And I do have to respect that the action is well directed. It's very smoothly directed. There's not a lot of shaky cam, thank God for that. If there was, this movie would be an atrocious piece of garbage. But, thank God that never happens in a Die Hard movie. Ever. But, anyway, another thing I like about this movie is that the movie, it isn't like quick paced, but it's decently paced. It's constantly moving, even though I didn't find the story as investing as the story in the third film. This one still had a solid plot. All right, what else? I like the ending. The ending's pretty cool. There's a good standoff, a shootout, and then there's a pretty cool line towards the end. I just wish they didn't cut it off. Yeah, they cut off John McClane's line in this movie. I can't say it, but they cut it off, and that was kind of stupid. But I know he says it fully in the unrated cut, but I haven't seen the unrated cut. I'm talking about the PG-13 theatrical cut. But trust me, one day I'd totally want to see the unrated version. Okay, let's now talk about a little bit of my negatives. Is that sometimes the death scenes are a little choppy. You could clearly tell they were edited around to be PG-13. Like, a guy gets shot and it just kind of cuts, and like the editing sometimes when people die is very weird. It feels a little choppy at times. And the story gets a little complicated, almost a little too complicated. Well, not too complicated, but I had a hard time following it. And I feel like the movie is like a bit too long, like maybe like 15 minutes too long or so. It feels a lot longer than it actually is. The movie's only like 2 hours and 8 minutes, but in my opinion, it feels like over 2 hours and 20 minutes. I didn't really find the story that interesting. It wasn't as interesting as the first Die Hard or the third Die Hard movie. This is in no way a bad movie. It's definitely not the worst Die Hard sequel, but compared to Die Hard 1 and 3, it's definitely weaker, but it is better than 2 and sincerely better than 5. Um, but, yeah. And I kind of do wish that the movie just stayed R. Like, they didn't have to release a PG-13 cut, an unrated cut. The unrated cut just should have been the thing they released in the first place. That's just my opinion, even though for a movie that went from an R-rated franchise to a PG-13 franchise, it isn't a bad turn, unlike Terminator. Oh man, just thank God they didn't make Rambo a PG-13 Rambo movie. Or Rambo Last Blood would have been anticlimactic, but no, I'm serious. The last 20 minutes of Rambo Last Blood was pretty awesome. But I'm not talking about Rambo. I'm talking about Die Hard. I'll talk about Rambo sometime next year. But all right. All right. In conclusion, Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard is not a bad film. It's not as bad as people say it is due to the fact that it is PG-13. People don't like the fact that it was. People kind of exclude it as a Die Hard movie. I don't think that's fair. You know, it's still it's a Die Hard movie, okay? And just because it doesn't have F-bombs every second and it has graphic violence does not mean it's not a Die Hard movie. Now I know I just griped about it, but you know, as its own, it stands alone as a Die Hard movie. But and the unrated version is just more you know, icing on the cake for people who want an actual Die Hard movie. You know, with the blood and the swearing. The unrated cut's for the people who want that, but this one is for people that want a little bit more blood-free, swearing-free. Yeah, this film is not as good as Die Hard 3, or sincerely not as good as Die Hard 1, but it is better than Die Hard 2 and Die Hard 5. I am going to give Live Free or Die Hard a B and is enjoyable. So if you've seen Live Free or Die Hard, what did you think about it? And if you like this review, give it a like, and I will see you guys next time.